Welcome back, everyone. This clip is twofold. I'm going to go in and add a couple of more minor details that I feel will help make the figure a bit more consistent. I'm going to add some more shading, some more blacks onto the face and onto the leg that's coming at us. And then we're going to drop in speed lines into the illustration. When I'm adding the details to the face, I'm really keeping in mind the planes of the head, how the cheekbones, the eyelids, the orbit for the eye, the front plane of the head all kind of work together as I cast a strong, contrasting shadow onto our hero's face. I'm outlining the shape because I have pretty good knowledge of the planes of the head, and I don't really feel the need to go into the pencil layer and put the rendering in just to have myself go over and re-ink it. This is where a little bit of your creativity and flexibility in the drawing will come into play. This is where your knowledge will come out and shine as you create your illustration. Just being able to add this one little touch up onto the face makes it a hair more consistent with the rest of the shading and is an additional layer that helps tie the illustration together and gives the viewer one less thing that they could nitpick or dislike about your illustration. I'm going to sit back, take a quick look at this, and I know pretty much already where I want to add some slick blacks to the hero's trunks on his legs, giving the illusion of strong muscles and the tension in the feel in the figure, but not a stiff figure, but the tension of muscles ready to explode in action. I'm keeping in mind the anatomy, the basic shapes, the curvature of the muscle as it wraps around the bone. A little bit of feathering helps pull the rendering together quite nicely, and it's consistent with the rest of the rendering throughout the figure. All in all, pretty good so far. I feel this muscle needs a little bit more of a shadow cast. And I'm going to end up throwing more of a shade around the outside of the quad, but I'm going to try to keep the shape organic. I'm not going to make it hard lined. I'm not going to make it very angular. I'm going to give it curved, fluid shapes. That way, it keeps with the consistency of the shadow on the chest, the shadow on the other leg, a little bit of feathering, clean up some of the lines a little bit. It's not exactly feeling the way I want it to. Get my pencil again, and let's see what the drawing is telling me to do. I pretty much have this leg mapped out now. I know that I'm going to fill in the outside of the leg heavier in black. I'm going to pick a larger brush to help me speed up the process. Nothing too large though, something still manageable for the amount of space that I have to work in. Get all the blacks filled in, make sure that it's got a nice look and feel to it. I feel that the teardrop on the quad needs a little bit of shading as well to keep it consistent with the outside flow of the leg. So I'm going to put a little bit of feathering in, give it the shape that I know it needs, and go in and drop in the blacks, close up my shape, give myself a little bit of an indication of the tension of the muscle, the strength of the muscle. Go and put a little bit of feathering here and there just to accentuate the shape of the muscle, the leg, make sure it ties all together nicely. So far, this is looking and feeling pretty good. This was a little bit of the touches that I felt that the illustration needed to help get the point across and make it a tighter rendered piece. All my feathering and rendering on the illustration goes around muscles and heavy black areas, or it fades off from black areas. Now I'm moving my layer around a little bit because I'm going to pull out the pre-done speedline layer, which I'm providing to you guys. And this layer is a transparent layer, which you guys will have the ability to put into your illustrations, play around with, warp. You can do anything you want with this. For my purposes, though, I feel that adding the speed lines to this illustration will help tie it together and give us nearly the final impact that we would expect from a dynamic, powerful hero just like this guy. Now, the speed lines are overlapping the figure in some areas. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that, but I want my lines to go below the figure. So what I'm doing is I'm creating a duplicate layer of the speed lines. This way I maintain the integrity of the file. And what I did was turn off the eyeball on it to make it invisible. And I'm working on the copy layer. And what I'm doing is I'm going to go around the entire figure with an eraser and hit all the lines that are overlapping the figure and removing them one by one. I want to make sure that the speed lines give the illusion of movement as he's coming towards us, and that he's in an insane burst of flight. I don't want the speed lines to slow down the image's speed. I want the speed lines there to enhance the speed of the figure. So, in my point of view, by putting the lines below the figure and having no lines on top of him, it gives the illusion that our hero is moving faster. In our next clip, we are going to be going over a few minor touch ups on our figure. I look forward to seeing you guys there.